we're part of the DHL initiative for SMEs, where we want to encourage, we want to guide, we want to support SMEs on their journey. We want to give them the knowledge, the know-how with those subject matter experts. So today we've got a special evening. I think it's a really special evening because we've got some SMEs that have been out there. They've been there. They've been in the toughest situations and they've succeeded and they still succeed. It's never the end journey. We're always pushing ourselves to do even better. And we've got these guys to try to help you guys to give you some guidance on where it worked for them. These guys are shining examples of what they're doing out there in the marketplace. They've been in the market for many years in one style or another, but they've been the pioneers to push forward and guide us and show us the right way. So I'll start with you, Alihan. If you can just tell everybody about yourself and give us a brief introduction of what you do and what your company does.
Hello, my name is Alihan Tokmak and I'm the managing partner of Hexagon. We're an event management and digital marketing agency operating for just over 12 years now in Qatar. You asked me to summarize Hexagon, yeah.
Summarize what you've done from where you started and then
Sure.
to where you are today with dealing with the biggest tennis event in Qatar.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it didn't start with the Qatar Tennis Federation, of course. 12 years ago, when I first came to Qatar was a complete different place. Now I can easily say that it has grown and both personal and in terms of business, I've grown with Qatar. I'm proud to say that we are the first member of Workington also. We started 6 years ago in this offices, and now we're still working with Workington, proud member. Yeah, of course, 12 years ago, we didn't start with Qatar Tennis Federation. We struggled a lot. And as an SME in Qatar, there was not much of a know-how lying around. So I had to dig in and prepare myself for bigger projects that we are doing right now. So for the past 8 years, we have been the proud partner for the events management of Qatar Tennis Federation. We've been doing all their international tournaments, closing ceremonies, and all kinds of technical management. During the World Cup period, of course, we had a privilege to work with FIFA, and we were the agency who did the pre-match ceremonies. We're working with Qatar Museums, UDC, and big names like that. As a professional myself, I'm coming from more of a sales and marketing background, and almost for 25 years of experience here and there in events. Qatar has given us the opportunity to diversify our business with the opportunities given. Because we started as an event management company, but right now we have also digital marketing, and I have a fun story to tell, which is inclusive of Varuna here, regarding the digital marketing. And then we have business consultancy, we have media services also, and we are still trying to grow because it's a very even though stable market, the conditions tend to change, and of course the world conditions are affecting the whole market, whatever business that you are doing, and it was really tough times during the COVID. We lost more than 80% of our annual revenue, but we stayed humble and we stayed in operations, and we're still going.
That's perfect. I just want one thing for the audience is can you remember that first event that you had to do, that contract? Can you remember it?
Yeah, it was the year 2013. We did a very small event, in QNCC, Qatar National Convention Center. And we were a very small part of it, providing manpower. But in general, my personality, and it's still going on, that I want to reflect to all my colleagues, is that whether a small or a very huge project, I take it as it's the most important project that we are ever doing. So I remember that first event vividly. I was shaking from inside, but I had to look like a stone, and we managed the event. It was the Greek artist Yanni's concert, and we provided some manpower for it.
So something that generally pretty small, but all of a sudden you're now doing these things for the World Cup and the Tennis Federation. Yeah. Congratulations, Sean.
Thank you.
You're one of these companies that I've seen you, but I've never. I've met you recently, but Evolve has been out there in the marketplace for quite some years, and you've done an amazing job. Please tell us about your businesses.
Thank you so much, Steve. Similar timelines actually to Hexagon. We started 12 years ago now, and we've also been with Workington for 6 years. So thank you, Shada. It's been an interesting journey. We've definitely evolved and we've shed skin. You know, we started the company as a outsourced fitness training provider. And our first venue was Beatitude Spa, which no longer exists. It's in Beverly Hills Tower in West Bay. Some of you may remember it if you've been here that long. They had a lovely studio. My brother, who relocated from London, said he wanted to open a gym. He was a chef and a personal trainer. So he worked for Gordon Ramsay in his last job in London. But then he had a back injury. You know, chefs wear these funny shoes like Dutch cogs. And if you stand there too long chopping something in the wrong position, you'll eventually hurt your back. And that's what happened to him, unfortunately. So he took 6 months out. He traveled around Southeast Asia. He ended up in a Muay Thai training camp. He basically transformed himself into an athlete and then said, I'm leaving the kitchen and I'm qualifying as a personal trainer. So as he was in the early stages of his career, I was looking at the market in Qatar, and I said, there's probably an opportunity out here. You know, he was very early in his career, but he came out, had a look at the market, and yeah, he decided that he'd give it a go. So he set up as a personal trainer initially, and then we identified Beatitude to bring it back round, and they had a lovely studio. So we did a deal with them. And we kind of felt that there was this buzz around fitness at that time, you know, the level of skills in the market. What we really aimed to do was raise the quality in the market and the standard, because all the good trainers were kind of behind the scenes. They were working for sheikhs. You wouldn't really see them. You go to the hotels. Not that all the hotels have bad trainers, but the selection and range of services you can get there are quite limited at that time. So we developed this kind of outsource model. We signed a contract with Grand Hyatt. A few months later, you know, we had boosted Beatitude's revenue like 150% within 3 months. We started bringing clients. We started hiring trainers. And then we signed with Grand Hyatt, then 4 Seasons, then the Marriott Group. And then it just kind of went a bit crazy from there. My background is I'm a lawyer. So I had come here 6 years before to work on one of the biggest oil and gas deals in the world at the time. And that was the refinancing of the Dolphin pipeline, which plugs the gas from here up to Abu Dhabi, then over to somewhere near Sharjah, I believe. So I was supporting my brother at the time grow this company, and it was an amazing experience. I studied economics earlier in my life, and I always wanted to get into business. And just seeing the growth and the excitement around what he had built, it was moving so quickly. I had this vision which aligned with his vision, because when he came here, I said to him, what do you want to achieve? And he said, you know, the first thing on his mind, let's open a gym. But I had a friend who had just left E&Y, and he had a few months that he was spending in Qatar where he didn't have a job. He was on gardening leave. And he basically did a business analysis and feasibility study of the market. He said, never open a gym. It's just way too risky. You know, the capital costs and the investment in light of the change in regulatory framework was going to be a big challenge at that time. At that time, when we set up the company, you could only exercise mixed sexes within 5-star hotels. So gyms hadn't really been licensed at that time. So we thought, okay, there's a lot of regulatory risk. And let's be honest, when the wellness culture takes off, there's going to be loads of people that want to open gyms, right? Every man and his dog's going to want to open a gym. What are they not going to have, or what's going to be needed? Well, we know there's going to be a lot of money, because there's a lot of money here to invest into that industry. We know there's going to be, a lot of appetite for these businesses. So we said, what entrepreneurs, businesses, companies and hotels offering these services will need is know-how and skills. So that's how we kind of set ourselves up as this outsourcing model. And we approached it with a very holistic kind of outlook. We wanted to be a one-stop shop. And that was the key value proposition which he wanted to deliver to the market. He said, I said, what are your challenges in your career? And he'd only been qualified for 1 year. And he said, I train clients, and because he was a chef, he can make healthy food taste better than unhealthy food, so he'd give his clients the food and the training as well. But he wouldn't be able to deal with clients if they're diabetic or if they have an injury. He's very ethical, and he would just refer them, and he wouldn't deal with them. They'd go off into another track, and then they'd kind of do their own thing. And he said, Sean, if I can build this one-stop shop where I've got physiotherapists, nutritionists, supporting the work of personal trainers, this would be amazing. And in international law firms where I'd worked in London, I kind of experienced corporate wellness where trainers would come in and give us this knowledge, right? Because when you're working 15 hours a day, for many days a week, if you don't take care of yourself, you'll burn yourself out quite quickly. So, companies invest into this sort of training in London. So it seemed like there was some alignment there. He wants to do holistic wellness. There's a model which we can deploy and leverage to offer corporate wellness. And that's kind of fast forward 12 years. That's where we are today. I left my job we started the company in 2013. I left my job in 2015, jumped on full time, took a 75% pay cut. It was survival mode for like 3 years, because then we had the blockade. It was really, really a risky decision. And at some points I did regret it, but the experience I was getting was amazing. And we basically launched the corporate wellness offering when I joined. We've developed that a lot over the last few years, and we've switched our income from 80% kind of individual services, fitness training, 20% corporate. Now it's 80% corporate, 20% individual training services. The market's obviously been saturated during COVID. We thought loads of businesses would close down in our industry space, right? We couldn't even operate. Like you said, you dropped to about 20% of your revenue. We dropped to about 5%. Our business just couldn't operate. Gyms were closed. Even in 2022, the restrictions were still kicking in sometimes on exercise. Gyms were closing sporadically. Hotels were very concerned. When you work with 5-star brands like Four Seasons, there's no risks there. People always say to me when I get into, how do you end up working with Four Seasons, giving their clients in-house this service? I think part of that is the communication that we had with them. And my father came from a hotel industry background, so we kind of understood the operating standards, and it's the intimacy of the relationship with the client, the privacy, all of that communication really plays into, them trusting you to deliver that service. So it was a really tough time during COVID. And, I was telling someone the story a few months ago, and they said, you're like Donald Trump. You just stuck in there, and it kind of, you survived at the end of the day. And that's what business is about a lot of the time. It is about consistency and the grit and the resilience which you can show, because market dynamics will change. This is the fastest moving time I think in business, you know, for entrepreneurs to come into a market and start something is so tough now, you know, so tough because markets are just moving so quickly. Business dynamics are moving so quickly. And us as humans, we're evolving so quickly as well. So, Steve, I could talk all night, but I think I should probably hand over.
No,
that.
the one thing that I want to ask you is that people say you've got this real good bond with your brother. People say don't work with your family, not in business. How was that? That was a huge risk. Was it an emotional risk you took? Did you care about the money that you were going to lose, but it's turned into something really special between you? But it couldn't have been easy at the beginning.
It wasn't. We both put a lot on the line, and it took a lot of compromises, honestly. And, you know, working with family.
Our initial partner was my cousin, and I had to initiate to let him go after 10 years with Hexagon, and it was really tough. And we don't have a good relationship right now, so it's really, really tough to work with family, especially if you're very close, like brothers.
It is. It
needs a lot of compromises from both ends.
It does, certainly. And it took a toll, you know, it weighs. There's no way you can avoid that. We have got a very special relationship. I think we went through a lot together, sort of pre-opening the company and so on. He did step away from the business during COVID because our first 2 years of profit were 2018 and 2019, and then COVID hit. And it was almost like it just took us back to what we were trying to do for 7 years, the place we were trying to get to. And, you know, it was tough. He got a job at the World Cup. I went back to my career, you know, and that was just to keep the company alive. And because wellness just doesn't pay as much as law, you know. So I had hopefully built a foundation by that point that we could allow to survive or facilitate surviving throughout COVID. And, you know, we'd see better days on the other side. That ended up in him going to Supreme Committee. He works there still now full time doing some of the legacy work. It impacted our relationship, but he stepped away, and, you know, it's been good since. He's kind of found his own path, and it's a company that he started, which he's no longer involved in. Day to day, at least anyway, you know. But yeah, I think it was a massive growth curve for both of us, and a learning process as well, which, you know, I think we're very blessed, and we recognize and very grateful to have had that opportunity and the outcomes.
Yeah. And the thing with this is, and why I brought it up was simply because sometimes it does work. I've known the most successful people in business. We used to work with every Domino's back in the UK, every single one of them. The most successful ones were the ones that they brought family into that business, where they actually give them 40% of that business, so that they had somebody that was real close. They understood how the expectations for her, and it worked really, really well. So I wanted to give it the two sides of the story. Sometimes it's tough, but it can be worked out. Joseph, thank you so much for coming. And again, for everybody that you're going to introduce yourself, but Yellow Toys, it's only just recently I found out what a fantastic job you've done here in Qatar and your story. So please tell us a little bit about it.
Right. First of all, I want to say I want to take a bail that I'm not a good talker, nor I'm not a stage guy. But of course, when Steve called, I said I want to be there. I'm here today sitting on the account of Ella Toys. Ella Toys is one of the first e-commerce platform for kids or toys, started in Qatar in 2018. But if you ask me, I'm not. That's not something that I started first, but people are known. I'm known for being a part of Ella Toys. I have been from IT industry back in 2000, but of late, when I came to Gulf, I realized that IT is not that very great industry to be part of, because I was a developer and there was nothing much to develop here. It was all about to use it. That's when I got into this industry. And in 2009, we started the business here. We started it as a distribution company. And we have been bringing few international brands that are very much needed for this country, brands like Little Deck, Step 2 from USA. And when we were working with retailers are always, I'm a retailer too, but retailers are always greedy. You put a 10 real product or you put a 100,000 real product, they want 50% margin. That was giving a challenge to me because I was trying to build my business on the outdoor category because that was very much needed for this market. So I was bringing my product. My entry price was, we were talking about 2,999 and my exit price was 60,000. To give a 50% discount for a product with 60,000, which was not viable, and they are never going to display it. They are not going to hold the stock. All the risk is on me. So we were, as a team, we were thinking, how are we going to reach to the customer? How are we going to communicate to the customer that we have this product and they can buy it directly from us? That's where the thought came in 2015 within my team. Why don't we go and list it online? You read the stories from the Europe, from US, that e-commerce is keep growing. But there was no e-commerce platform where we could list our product. So we were forced to start an ecosystem for e-commerce in 2018. And in 2018, when I was speaking to my category experts or the people, the well-wishers, everyone was used to laugh at me. Hey, Gaddy, are you really serious that you're going to invest in e-commerce? I said, okay, we hardly got any motivational support from any of our non-people. But we, as a small team, we decided, come on, let's give it a try. If we can make it, well. If we can't make it, okay, fine. We can say that it is not our cup of tea and we can walk away. We launched Rela Toys in 2018, October, without anyone knowing. We just put it on the internet. We started doing our homework. The traction started coming in. We were happy with the kind of numbers we were getting or the customer engagement that we were getting. Then we realized, fine, this is something that we can really work on. People are ignorant. That's why they were laughing at me, because they were not able to see the world what I was trying to see. So the team around me were believing in my dream or believing in our vision. We worked hard. We started with a very entry-level technology when we were in 2018. We moved to a much sophisticated system. In 2019, we were all geared up. 2019, towards end of 2019, we were all geared up to go powerful and authentic. To our good luck, or I don't know how to define it, that's when the pandemic hit the world. And we were the only e-commerce company in this country who could cater to the kids. And you know that all the malls were closed, all the shops were closed. You are not allowed to get into the store. And we were a team of hardly 10 people in the e-commerce division. And you have orders that you need at least 20-25 people to fulfill about. When I sit here, I'm happy that I'm sitting here, and I'm more than happy for my team. COVID was scary to everyone. I was blessed with a team who worked tirelessly, without worry, beside me, all through the COVID period. I had a customer service person who was working with me. She's from Tunisia. We stood up for a meeting in our office. I said to the people, look guys, even I am scared like you. Even I am not sure about what is this pandemic is all about. But one thing what I can assure you is that I'll be the last one to leave the office. Until you everyone, I will be the last one. I will be there with you people and I will take care of you. And I should be thankful to my team. Yes, when our friends said that they lost the business, our business was growing actually. Because our business was growing multi-folds because all the kids are sitting at home. Parents are not sure about what to do with them. They wanted to buy a toy to get them engaged. And the only choice was Ella Toys. So I would say our effort paid off. Of course, when there is a tide, you can go up. But if you don't do your job right, you can't sustain there. So 2021, 22, we worked hard. We refined our ecosystem. We refined our technology. We moved to a much bigger ERP, much bigger the platforms. We procured more and more tools to make sure that we sustain where the community has taken us to. So if you ask me today, yeah, I would not say me as a person of Ella Toys. In fact, we are growing ourselves in such a way that we wanted to be there in a kid's journey. So when I say we wanted to be part of a kid's journey starts from the womb of his mother or his or her mother. So that's when we started Ella Moms. Ella Moms take care of a pregnant woman to a 1-year-old baby. And Ella Toys take care of a 1-year-old baby to a 7 or 8. Today's world, the kids, there is age compression and kids are not using toys anymore. But then we have other channels that is coming in which cater to books, which is already launched actually, Ella Books. We also, we wanted to encourage mom and parents to buy books also along with toys, so that it's not that we just sell toy or we just sell consumable. We wanted to be socially responsible as well. So what made us to go into that category is that when you look at the book portfolio in Qatar specifically, you have one Virgin, you have one Fnac, you have one Alif store. Randall is there. But when you look at kids, the toddlers, you don't have much option. You go to, if you ask me today, Alif is the biggest portfolio. Still, they are holding just hardly 1,900 SKU. And books market we are talking about it in 20,000, 30,000. Nobody's ready to take that risk to import that and keep it here. We started our journey on that side. We are today, Ella Books is with around 3,800 SKU. And we believe end of 2025, we should be touching 10,000 skins in books category alone. Again, we are not expanding ourselves more than 13 years old. We don't want to get into a competition with other players who are catering to the teens and adults. We don't want to. So we are looking for a market which is from a newborn baby or a baby from the womb to his 10 years or 12 years old. That's all. And I don't know if I recall, we worked together on one event in Qatar. You were doing one of the Qatar Airways event in Qatar, and it was there was a contract given to Q Sports, if I'm not wrong. And the entire entertainment accessories was provided by us actually during that time. So, yeah. Now we will do more, yeah. This is, if you ask me, this is about Ella Toys. What I want to say you here is that, see, what I believe, when you want to build a dream, you should have your ecosystem equipped to take care of that dream. I was speaking to somebody from DHL just 10 minutes back, a few minutes back here. When I started with the distribution, when I brought my first shipment to this country, my shipment was stopped at the border. I kept it there for almost a week and it was sent back. I could never clear the shipment. I asked myself, oh, come on, I'm starting my business. The first experience is this. How am I going to survive here? But, in that couple of days, I realized if I am going to excel in the logistics side of it, that is the biggest bottleneck that the market was facing. If I can excel in that, I can sustain with my business. I can be successful in the business. So if you ask me, in 2013, we started a logistic company just to take care of our logistics primarily. In 2015, that company has grown to of its own. It became it's an independent entity. We operate out of Qatar and Dubai. And we focus solely on DG goods and the category of goods that require special approvals. For example, MET or a standard metrology. From ICT or any shipment that has got lot of approvals and lot of hurdles. We prefer to work in that category because toys made us strong into that, because every toy container comes here, you have got a 3 to 4 days of job, because MET is going to look into every small thing before it gets cleared here. Unlike other part of the GCC, customs does customs part and municipality does municipality's job, but in a two different dimension. In Qatar, the rules have been created in such a way, before the goods comes out of port, all this has to be met. So you don't have you are barely left with a venue where even if you make a mistake, there is no way that you can correct it. You are being penalized there and then. So you have to foresee what is going to happen before taking a container out of any of the country. So that's how we, that's Technofreight. Technofreight is our logistic company. Then again, I said that outdoor category, which made me to get into e-commerce. Before going to e-commerce, I tried to convince my retail partners, guys, look, if you present this product in a nice manner, you are going to make a lot of money. I'm not going to get into retail. You can do that your side. But people were all were with a traditional approach of keeping a catalog. Then you show the picture on the catalog. I was going to Toys R Us one day. I looked at my catalog. That's been there for a month. Half of the page is torn and half picture is faded. And I am selling a 10,000 real worth of product. Who is going to buy on seeing this product? It is not going to happen. That's when I realized, okay, fine. We need to bring in a digital solution to showcase these pictures and videos in such a way that customer can get experience. We imported digital display screens from China. We set up a kiosk. I would say we were one of the earliest. I don't think anyone would have done it before me. That's like a tab which is with a touch screen. So you have your. We developed a Android-based app for that. Because when I shipped the digital display screen, it was informed me that there is a pre-build up. So I was thinking that, okay, fine, I get the gadgets, put it on the ground, load the media, it will start work. But when it reached here, I realized, oh, come on, the software what they gave to me is nowhere going to help me out. So I airshipped these screens and I was not able to use it. It is sitting in my office because there is no company who could help me with setting up an application that will work in a way that I want it. Worked around the people, spoke to different people, went back to India, identified someone who can do the job for me. We came back, we rolled it to the Toys R Us, and Toys R Us took this one from all the way here to all the way UAE. UAE, they had around 12 stores in UAE, and they were using it there as well. So when I went through that phase, because I spent like $4,000 to ship the screen, first screen, and this 4,000 is sitting in an office for almost 1.5 months because I could not roll it out. So that was again showing me there is there is IT companies here, like big names are there. That is for the deep pocket people. For a SME, there is nobody. And if you go to someone, they are going to give you a fortune. It is not really required because we know what it is, but somebody has to do it. We can't sit and do that. So that made us to again think, why not we invest a little bit of effort and knowledge that we acquired over a period of time into setting up an IT company. That's how we set up a IT company called Cherry Infotech. Cherry Infotech has been there for last 15 years. My colleagues are there actually. Cherry Infotech started with taking care of our own requirement, our ERP implementation, our WMS, and whenever we were in need of a small marketing support, things like that. Today, Cherry Infotech has got a very, very prestigious customers like Ministry of Education, Qatar Hospitality, and bigger names which we can't declare in the public. So if you look back, my interest even today is to do to the toy business. That is what I'm enjoying, or that's what I enjoy all about. Why did I create this ecosystem around me? It's a backward integration. Today I said about the ERP. The first ERP that I went was Sage ERP, and I took one of the best implementer in Qatar. He took around $30,000 as implementation fee. He wasted my 6 months. It never got implemented in a way that I wanted, or to the capability of the ERP that it could be. So all the way we scrapped that one and we went back to UAE. We identified a new partner. We came back here. That's again asked us why will not be there many Thomas who is looking for a ERP implementation. So we went back to the Sage product itself. We said, guys, we are your customer and we are a big team. How are you guys going to take care of us? So we signed up with Sage to represent them here, and we build the resources to take care of the implementation. And we have a handful of customer here, especially from SME. We have a very, we have a out-of-box solution which I have gone through. I know, $30,000 in early days, it's too much. You feel the pain when you pay out that money and you don't get anything back. So we work with SMEs, especially on that side. So this is my journey. If you ask me, people know me for Ella Toys, but Ella Toys is a outcome of a set of people who have worked in logistics, who have worked in my tech company, or who have worked in distribution or retail. Yes, Ella Toys happen to be a flashy one, but that's not what we are. I don't know. This is what I know to talk.
I think a beautiful story, and it's one of those. It's okay to have one product. It's okay to have one business, and from that, when the sun shines, you make hay. And then once you've done that, then you're going to move into different businesses that's going to help your business, and that's going to create multiple businesses on top of that. Now, our next guest, thank you so much indeed. Our next guest is one of those that I was in company formation for maybe 14 years, and I had so many Qataris come up to me and so many expats come up to me and say, I want to set up a business in coffee shops. And I'm holding my head with both hands and I'm saying, what experience do you have in this industry? And they said, none, but I think that there's great profit in it. And I remember this guy, and it's funny we should be talking because everybody's been working with one another, and we didn't plan it that way at all. But that's the love of Qatar, is that sometimes you've just got to spread your nets out, and there's people that can help you. So that's another lesson to learn today. But this guy, we brought over a double-decker bus. You may have seen it. It was with a lady called Sheikh Nora. And I went to this guy, and you were with Magnolia at the time. And he helped me so much because we didn't have chefs, we didn't have those things. So it was much easier to get the products from Maruna and sell them on the bus instead of doing it ourselves and have all those staffing costs. And he helped me from morning till night to make sure that we could get this done. Unfortunately, she changed her mind several times, and it didn't go forward, but we've always been friends. And now he's got this symphony, it's his own place. Oh my God, I sat down with him and I said, are you sure? Are you sure? The rent, I know how much the rent is going to be on a monthly basis. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Tell them your success, Bruno. I'm sorry, I'm telling your story. Tell them what you do.
Yeah. So thank you, Steve, for that introduction, actually. So you covered a little bit already, which is make it easier for me. So somehow food and beverage being my passion from my entire career was in food and beverage. It's just not the career. It's just my passion is keeping me, driving in this industry for a long time. So 2006, I came to Qatar, worked at the Ritz-Carlton for 6 years, great experience, studied about hospitality and everything. And one fine day, one of my guests said that, why don't you come and join us start Magnolia Bakery. That time I was like, I had no clue what it was. I was a hotelier. I used to run restaurants. In different restaurants. I grew up in hotels. Then it was something new to go out, and it was already a big decision that time to leave the hotels, because when you study for hotel management, you were planning for a career through the hotels, and then all of a sudden you decide to go for standalone. That's a big step already there. So it started. It was a great opportunity. I think that really inspired me to come up with symphonies as well. All credit goes to all the concepts I've been through Doha for the last 18 years in Qatar. yes, during Magnolia time, I met Steve, I met Alihan, I met you as well, Sean, and I've seen Thomas, but maybe through one of the concerts. But yeah, like you said, rightly said, like Doha made us together. We somehow bump into each other quite often. So it's a great community to be and to start doing things. So after Magnolia, I took care of Expectation, Shakespeare, great concepts, had a wonderful time. Yes, it was a tough time, like all of you said, during COVID. The restaurant business was also another area which was hit heavily. But that also, I took it as a learning time because we learned how to survive. That time we had around 185 staff with no restaurants operation, and we know that there are a lot of families behind them, trying to survive throughout. So learned as well how to manage that part, learned through Magnolia how to build a restaurant. I also did mistakes early, like, 2014. I thought I'm ready to do restaurants now. So I had one restaurant in Sri Lanka. It did not work. Absentee ownership didn't help. So I was here and things didn't work out, but I still really wanted to have something my own. Before Symphonies, I opened 14 restaurants in the Prantam, in the Doha Overseas. That was a great experience as well. Then at the end of second year of Prantam, I was thinking, I've been running somehow the finances, the teams, construction to concept development, work with 14 different franchise operations, 22 restaurant concepts. So I was like, why don't I start again something to do my own? But then, of course, it needs help. I couldn't start alone. So I'm also in the Sri Lanka Qatar Business Council. So my friends came up and they were like, we would like to be, they start to see that I'm passionate about it. So they're like, when are you opening? I'm like, I'm still working on it. We like to be part of it. So that boost up my energy more to start. Okay, I need to get this done. Of course, a lot of convincing had to happen with different parties, like the same feedback I got from many people, like why restaurants? And then we see a lot of restaurants got closed, especially after the football, FIFA. There were a lot of after effects happen for the business. There's plenty of restaurants, coffee shops in the market. Some of them do well, some majority don't do well. You drive to industrial area, you see warehouse loads of used kitchen equipment, which shows that how many restaurants are closed. It's scary. But because of the passion, I wanted to start. So we came up with this concept from the scratch, thought about the concept, colors and everything. So yes, having a great team of partners was a great thing for me to start this business. And also my team, especially like actually I hope that you enjoyed some of our things over there with my team. My team has put a lot of efforts to put a nice selection for us today here. And Rodel, who was my chef, he was in Magnolia Bakery. So I have Symphony is going like a family. So I have a team from Magnolia. I have a team from Shakespeare. I have a team, bit of everyone who work with me. So they all am together, and plus some new team members as well. I call it family. They are not team. It's we as one family. We started the concept in the city center. It was a big decision, especially from a different country where I'm coming from, in a complete different place. And I'm a person unfortunately don't speak a word of Arabic, in a country where majority of the government things and everything runs still in Arabic. So this was, it's tough. But I think I dreamed big, so I was able to achieve with the concept. I want to grow more. I want to take the brand for the next level. We want to make it an international brand. Especially my experience with the other franchises, I want to take it to another level. It could be expanded. When it comes to the F&B, I would love to do something fine dining, but I know this market doesn't help fine dining a lot, because we have lots of fine dining, but we don't have the enough guest for the fine dining. We need more tourism and all in the country. It is growing, but when we started with Symphonies, I thought this is the best to start, like, to have a hot croissant in the morning and a great coffee. This was the idea. So here we are. So Symphonies opened last February. I still have lots of things to do. We just started our catering just 10 days back. So today is actually our official third catering that we have this spread. So we still have a long way to go. So this is a bit of how we get there and how the symphony started.
And you might be thinking, some of you might be thinking now, well, is he an SME or is he a startup? And it was quite specific, because he's been an SME for most of his career, but he had he had it to go and do it himself. He'd done so well at what he'd done that other people wanted to be part of his journey. And that's what I wanted to get. I suppose with him being a guest here today, it was his determination that really got him through, and the ability to help at any moment's notice. As he said, he's just he done all the function for here tonight. He's got a place in a city centre that's just absolutely fantastic, and it's flying. I can't believe how well it's doing, but it's down to the individual. And as he touched on, was all about his staff and his team. If you go there, example it. Okay. And to be quite honest with you, although he's a startup, I think he's one of the best SMEs that I've come across, just from an operational perspective. If you, and I'm not going to do this, but if you go and see the place and then think how much he spent on it, and then divide that by 2 or 3, because he'd done everything from a research perspective, a marketing perspective, and because people wanted to help him, and they gave him a good price too. So, and yeah, you did get some round of applause. So congratulations, and thanks for being on the panel today. I'm going to come back to you and start, because there was something that you said when you were talking earlier, and we've all got to do sometimes is pivot. Sometimes we all think to ourselves, we got this brilliant idea, and sometimes we get good at something and we go into offshoots. But I saw your profile today, and you were an events company at the beginning. You're a fantastic events company now, but you had to pivot into other services because you were good at those services for these events. How did that work?
Well, basically, as I said, I'm coming from a marketing and sales background. And we literally had to diversify our services with also digital marketing, thanks to Varuna's ex-boss and my good friend Abdurrahman. He was the CEO of the company called Shift, and Abdurrahman, because he knew me well, and my general motto in life is don't promise something that you won't be able to deliver. And Abdurrahman knew this. We delivered everything that at Hexagon that we promised. So he was pushing me to be the digital marketing company that Shift Group was running. And one of them was, luckily, it was Magnolia Bakery. Yeah, that's how we met with Varuna around like 8 years ago. So yeah, we diversified our business. Not diversified, actually. We added a new business to our line, and we keep growing because I believe collaboration is much stronger in terms of growing. and we have excellent partners from different parts of the world. We have been sustainable partner for even local companies in our own business, in events management companies who are doing extraordinary projects, and we were lucky enough with them to be partners for taking care of some part of their work. Other than that, the adjusting to the era, it was really important for me, because growth is not just about staying the same and continuing. Honestly, I would find that very boring. I only feel satisfied when something new is happening and I get excited about it. So that's why in our business, it's very important to have the growth with the diversification.
Yeah. Thank you so much. But I like, sometimes I like because of what you had to do for your events, those skill sets you upped other people with. So the things that you had to sharpen within your business, then you provided those services to other people, which is complementary here. It's fantastic what you've done. Sean, I'm going to come to you from the business side of things, okay? Because it's one of those things. How important is it for us to make sure that in the beginning that you do that market research and you make sure that you do some projections and business plans? How important is it for us, for SMEs to be able to do that and continually do that?
I think it's, hugely important. And in terms of kind of business planning, I think things have shifted a lot now. We make quite short-term plans now because of the point I was saying earlier. The market dynamics change so much. Yes, we have a 1-year plan. We used to do 3-year plans. We don't do 3-year plans for the last few years. And even a 1-year plan seems like quite a daunting, protracted sort of period. So I think planning is very important, and coming back to the important parts of planning, I think your marketing, having your pulse or finger on the pulse in terms of where the market's moving and being able to foresee that's really, really important. And having a firm grasp of numbers as well. If you're not good at numbers, you can still do business, but you better have someone who's good at numbers sitting next to you who you trust. Thankfully, I've got someone that I trust, and I'm okay with numbers myself, but that is hugely important. Understanding your market, understanding the dynamics, understanding, the numbers of a feasible business model. That's what you need to come up with to sustain yourself. I feel like we've been through so many ups and downs that it's almost like it's evolved a social project. We've had so many years of no profit, then we've had years of profit. And I think we've got to a point now, we've reached a certain level of maturity and stability because we've been able to plan in that very agile way. And it's almost like when you're in the early stage of building a business, there's all this chaotic creativity and, you're trying different things. And then you get to a stage in your maturity where you hope you don't have to try anything anymore, and you're going to be stable, and you're going to have your market share, and you're going to have your market position. And honestly, traditionally, I think that's how markets worked and dynamics worked. But it certainly doesn't work like that anymore. You can't be in a comfort zone very long. So that brings it back to the importance of having that, that strategic eye open, that agility to move, and that you'll only be able to decide if you plan properly. And that's all about having a great team around you. None of us are going to be able to plan in every single area, right? It's like personal trainers. A majority of our employees are personal trainers, and they're like mini entrepreneurs. They have to do everything. They have to do their budgeting, they have to do their marketing, they have to do their sales, they have to do, their forecasting and their operations. And our platform comes in and kind of supports them with a lot of aspects of that. And that's just talking about the peripheral stuff. What's their core business? What's their core activity? It's delivering fitness training to clients. You know, so not only do they have to think about all of the things they need to do just to put themselves in a position to do that, in order to do that, that's the most important thing that they have to focus on doing as well. So I guess it's about having the right people, making the right decisions by bringing in the right resources and doing the right planning. But I think, you know, marketing, numbers, understanding your customer set, customer focus is so important. You cannot, if you understand your customer, you will be able to innovate and you'll be able to respond to them. If you don't understand that, like, your customer focus is so important. That market intelligence will only come from proximity, communication, and having that nous to know that, you know, at any time you can be pushed out of your comfort zone, and life won't last for very long if you think you'll stay there.
And again, I'm just going to add on that, because I think it's really important, is that the brain power it gives you, or the taking away of the distractions of when you have all these things going on in your mind, to be in control of that business, will give you at least 10 to 15% more energy levels to be able to take those difficult situations that we all face. And I think that's important, just to give yourself that safety space, that mind space, to be able to keep on pushing yourself forward.
Exactly. It's a very good point, because, you know, when you're in that state of, it's like your physiology, right? That cortisol, that stress state. Sometimes you don't make good decisions. You make bad decisions. And that's the thing, just giving yourself that space. And that's having the knowledge that you're doing the right things, and, you know, you're planning in the right way, and you're looking at the right things. And that in itself gives you some space, because that allows you to get some sleep at the end of the night.
The distractions, they're there for everybody. You better deal with them. And to get that extra energy level, that's going to make you that's going to push you forward. The one thing I'm going to come to you now, Joseph, is the risk taking. There must be so many people in this room that have got into that situation where they're going to have to take those next risks, that next business that I've got to open, those next employees I've got to take on. How did you always look at that? How do you manage to grow that business in that respect?
I always see risk. We always call it. We say that we are taking the risk, but we all are qualified, and we all are with enough capability to assess our risk, to what extent that we need to take. I call a risk, I call any situation or any element as a risk, is that when I don't have enough visibility, what I am going to do. If you ask me, if you have a visibility of what you are going to do, or where you want to reach, what is your vision, if you are clear about it, I don't see it as a risk. It's only a matter of constraints that you are going to face during that phase of time, that until you reach your destination. Again, if you don't have a right team, if you don't have a right vision, or if you don't have a right plan, fine, it's a risk. Of course, as I was saying, that you need to have an ecosystem. It is very important to have the right people beside you, people whom you can trust, people whom you can endorse the responsibility. Once you have that in place, you know, you have mitigated 50% of your risk. Then planning, having right resource, all that is very important. Of course, you should have a very clear financial plans for you. You should know what kind of, where you are putting your foot, how depth it is going to go. We operate in Bahrain, if you ask me. I haven't been there in the, I don't know, last 12 months I haven't even gone to Bahrain. But I have a team who is working there, and we have a system in place, we have process in place, and we have our weekly meeting in place to mitigate the risk. It's not necessary that I have to be there to make sure that everything goes fine. So the risk can be mitigated with the proper systems, process, and right team. I believe in that way.
Did you have this from the very beginning, or has it been a progress of kind of learning it as you go?
See, I'm an Indian. Normally, when I was about to start the business, I did a bit of a homework with the other small and medium entrepreneurs in this country. What I have seen is that many of time people make a mistake saying that I'm doing business versus a self-employment. You need to realize the fact, from a employment to a self-employment, that doesn't mean that you are doing business. When you are a self-employed, you have to be disciplined, you have to have your tasks, you have to have your, your goal to achieve on day-to-day basis, beyond more than an employee. So if you understand, when I understood that, the first person I hired in my company when I started in 2009 was the accountant, the finance person. The first person to come on my company before my fit out start for my office, my accountant was recruited. I still remember that it was a lady, and I'm being thankful to her. And even I quote her name in my office even now, because she teach me how to be disciplined on finance. Fine, money is in your pocket, but you're not allowed to spend without asking me. She literally used to do that to me. So I think that gave me lot of many of time business suffer when there is no right resources available, especially in finance side of it, right? If you're from especially like my business, which is trading, it's a very cash intensive business. And if nobody is there to take care of it, you feel that, okay, there is money to come in books, but it will not come on time. Nobody is going to pay you on time. In this country, it is not going to happen. They say 60 days credit, but it will come in 120. So there should be someone, like how he was saying, the data to be collected, and you should be able to read that data in a right way. So knowingly or unknowingly, I fall into that fit that I always I said when I started Elatois, we invested into Oracle in 2020 when everyone was stopping the investment. Nobody wanted to spend $1 from their pocket into any kind of investment. Me and my colleague took a decision. Let's invest into ERP, which is going to drive the business. And today, if you ask me, as Elatois, whatever, how good or bad we are, I don't have to be there, or not necessarily that any of the decision maker need to be there to run the show. It will go off its own. We believe in that, actually. A right system, right process, right people. That's what makes your company, actually. That will mitigate your risk to almost nothing.
Nice one. Nice one. Who wants to employ it? I'm sorry if there's accountants in the room or bookkeepers, but who wants to think about that in the first place, right? The last person I want in my business is the bookkeeper. So it's something that you've got to listen to these experts and say, you know what, maybe I've got it wrong. Maybe I'm going to go and employ a bookkeeper tomorrow. The one thing I'd like to do before we open up the questions from you guys with the questions with these wonderful panel, is that everybody's talking about the teamwork. And I know that's your speciality, because I know from and I know that I seem to be praising this guy, but I genuinely am inspired by this guy, the way that he wouldn't ask any of his staff to do anything that he's not prepared to do himself. And he's going to be the first one there in the morning, and I know he's going to be the last one there in the evening. But the staff are very important to you. Why is that?
I think we can build a beautiful restaurant, but at the end, everything lies on the team who's handling it. So at one point, this is something I used to tell my team, that everyone, they will talk about the beauty of the restaurant for the first few months. After their first visit and the second visit, they have seen it. So that part is done. The rest all is completely depending on our team, how our chefs are preparing the products, and how the service team is delivering the product. So everything lies on that. After that, like if I really see, like in February when we open, everybody is like, oh wow, I like the colors, I like this, I like the music. But now I'm hearing that little bit less. Oh, I like your croissant. I like this guy who serves me. This is how it changes. So, and like this is also another example. Like I had it when I was at the Ritz-Carlton. Like my director of food and beverage once came and told me, like, we did like 350 covers for brunch that time. And the time that we used to do brunch, there were not too many brunches in town. So it was like one of the best brunch at the Ritz-Carlton. In 350 covers, we really worked very hard to make that happen. So my director used to come and tell me, like, when he saw that we were rolling tables, the restaurant was, I think, 180 cover restaurant. So how we do 350 covers? We bring things from here and there. We meaning it's not just me. It's the rest of the team, how they make it happen. The chefs are super busy. We go full optimized what we could do in that place with the 180. So this cannot be done just because with the brand name or how the place looks like. If the team wants to do, there's no limit. So I think as leaders, we should not have that gap. We should guide them, but we need to be part of the system. If we don't step in, nobody will step in. So I think team is the most important thing in order for any business to continue for a long run. Yeah, that's my opinion. Yeah.
Thank you so much indeed. And you will go in, there's not many places like this in Qatar, but you will go into his place and they will sell you, which if you can only imagine, if I could upsell 50% of my customers, what effect it's going to have on my business. But nobody does it here in Qatar. Go to Symphonies, you'll be upsold. Now, who's got questions? Who's got questions about their business that wants to ask one of the panel? Anything that yeah, let me come to you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Saif. Thank you so much for the amazing panel, for the talk. It's really, really fruitful. My question is, I want to know what's your take on AI employees, and if you have any in your business, and if so, how do you employ them and using what exactly? Thank you.
I'll kick off, if that's all right. I think augmentation, supplementing workforce is something which is inevitable in all industries. Our company, I actively encourage it. I've given my team AI training. We now offer AI training for other companies as part of our corporate wellness offering. So look, we think AI literacy is so important. AI awareness is so important. And we do that from the perspective, or we believe in that as one of our values, from the perspective of emotional well-being and psychological safety. Because, even the most qualified people in the world, I've heard doctors, I've been to AI conferences, they're like, when's my job going, And I always say this, and I said it to my graphic designer as soon as ChatGPT 4 came online and these AI generating image recognition platforms, you have to become a master at using it. You will never be redundant. AI is always going to need to be controlled, because otherwise what, it will control us? No, that's a doomsday scenario, right? So we need to be in control of it. And that's the point. That's kind of what I think people need to understand right now, and that should increase our appetite to embrace it. I do have some issues with the ethics around AI and the lack of governance. A lot of artists are suffering around the world as a result of it, but I guess that's another conversation for another day. So I do believe AI needs to be used responsibly. There is also a huge environmental impact of AI, which no one's really talking about, and it's only going to increase. So I actually believe AI awareness training right now is really needed from the perspective of ethics, environmental and psychological safety, but also for efficiency. And I think that's where your question was going. The potential of AI is just mind-blowing, especially in a field like which we work in, health and wellness. Like the way you can aggregate and analyze mass data, there's going to be massive developments and breakthroughs as a result of that. but I can't not highlight the implications of this Wild West, unfortunately, situation we're facing right now, where there is no regulation anywhere. And there are some good moves being made by the European Union, and the Americans keep on, Sam Altman and everyone else keeps on talking about, AI regulation being good, but is the willpower really there? I'm not sure. I believe in it 110%. People need AI training, they need competency, and role-based capability training is so important right now. And I believe companies, however small you are, you need to start implementing it. And that's even just telling your staff to become familiar with ChatGPT. And like I did with my graphic designer, you have to start using these tools. 2 years ago, I'm pushing him now. He's using the new Canva. You know the new Canva? It's just come out, I think, last week. And now now you can write code with Canva. Like, the pivoting, the diversification of businesses as well, which is happening and unfolding in front of our eyes. This is just phenomenal stuff. And, you put your head in the sand. I think it's not going to be a good situation, because we're not going to stop this, and I think the education, the training and the awareness, I think it starts with the awareness first. It's just really, really crucial to embed it and really start driving the understanding of AI, its capability, its stage of maturity, and all the dangers and risks around it.
Any other answers from anybody on the panel on the same question? Anybody? No? Next question.
Well, I will not ask about AI. I was surprised that this was the one. Yeah. I will not ask about AI. However, we are competitors, yeah. Actually, I want to ask about teams, yes, because what I see in you are powerful founders. And I want to ask you how you were able to build these teams, that they were really behind you and they were supporting you, because 90% of all the founders, they have a big problem to find those people who will believe in them, in their idea, especially in startup. And the other question also, it was surprising that actually all of you somehow you work together, you partner together. And being, let's say, new business in Qatar or in Middle East, not as a startup, but coming here from even other regions, if you don't have this network and if you are not 15 years in Qatar, is it possible also to get to all these big partnerships, or you need 5 years to build this and then you will be visible in the market?
Yeah, well, great question. I'll start from the end. I don't think you need that much of time at the moment with all the technology and the tools that you can tap in Qatar. The good thing about Qatar, I think, within the GCC market, is that it's a small market that you can touch everybody without knowing. So yes, I know all the companies that are lined up here, and somehow we work together, and we are coming from completely different industries. What was the first question again? It was too long, sorry. The founders and the team, yes, you asked about the team. Yeah, I think that's the most core business, the core element of our business when it comes to events or any operational business. I'm sure Sean is going to say the same thing, because operational business relies on trust. The people that you give the trust, who are representing you against others, is the most challenging part of our businesses. I was lucky enough to hire some good people who are a long time with me right now. I mean, I have colleagues that are working with me for over 8 years, which is quite long time. But it was not that easy every time that I was hiring somebody. Some people that I hired, I had some questions in the beginning, but I just felt that I had to trust the process. Some people, it was like I really was enthusiastic to have them join the team, but then it turned into a disappointment, unfortunately. But you just learn and you evolve somehow, and you learn. You don't become the resilient partner or founder of a company just by doing projects, but actually you have to do the operational work. Like Steve said about Varuna, I think everybody is the same. None of the people that you see here would do anything. They would expect their employees to do anything that they wouldn't do. I'm coming from a background where I used to be in the operations of an event, so I know all the struggles that everybody's going through. Sean's brother is coming from the personal trainer background, so it's not easy to mess with these kind of people because we know what we're talking about. I mean, Varuna, he's coming from an operational background, and I know actually Yalato is not only in a professional way, but in 2021 you helped me a lot with my 3-year-old son in the small store near the embassies. First I found you online, and then I came and collected the electrical small cars. And I remember maybe you were at the store at that time, or somebody else that really helped. And so team, yes, very important. Selecting the team, you have to be a little bit lucky, I guess. And the second question, as I said, I don't think anymore that it's going to take too long for having a business running in Qatar. As long as you tap into the correct people, and it's not very easy. Yes, it's the case. Also, I think Qatar is a market where traditional communication is very important. Like the contracts or the documentation sometimes is not very important. Let me give you an example from Qatar Tennis Federation. We became so in-house, although we are an outsource partner for them. Just with a word, thousands, sometimes millions of projects are just initiated without waiting any documentation. And that is happening with trust. So that's why Qatar is, I think, a unique market where you can easily start your business if you just... I mean, that's the case for everywhere, but here trust is very important, and personal relationships sometimes really matter. I mean, you have to create your connections with your clients, your acquisitions, in a personal way sometimes. That doesn't necessarily mean sharing your personal life, but it has to be a very friendly way. The trust connection needs to be founded in all relationships here. This is my experience.
I want to add one more thing to your question when you asked that how as a founder, how do you get your team? As a founder, you should be an inclusive person. You should know to trust your team. I don't say that it's not that everyone is going to be 100% accurate on what you are thinking about. I don't see a reason not to trust anyone unless it is proven otherwise. So trust them. Maybe it is not that they intentionally want to not to be where you want them to be. Maybe it is to do with their level of understanding or level of skill and things like that. Have patience, trust them, they are going to be with them. Why I say this? the oldest employee what I have is 15 years old, with 15 years with me, and he take care of my entire legal side of it, and he's there. And to me, if you ask today, if he's not there, I don't know how the company moves. So because he runs the company, so it is true. If you ask me, he's not the best person on Qatar, but today he is the best for our company. So it is very important as a founder to be inclusive and have a clear DNA. When a person comes to you, you should let them know what you are expecting from them. Maybe they will not be able to deliver it soon, but trust them, train them, you refine them. Sooner or later, they will start performing for you. I believe in that, actually.
So going back to this question, I always ask every single guest, what would you have asked your 15, what would you have told your 15-year-old self on what to do better? What I'm asking you guys to do today is, each one of you, is just very quickly look up and look back at your careers and give us one bit of advice that you can share with everybody today. Not easy.
Can I be the last to answer this? I'm always the first.
Does anybody want to take that one?
So let me just think
Come
about
on,
it.
Sean. I know that you can get that mic. Come on.
I think one of the biggest lessons is when things are going really well, keep yourself grounded and make sure you do all the things we talked about earlier in terms of the business planning, keeping your eye on the ball and trusting your team, to have the proximity, not having arrogance that you have many more years of experience or this is your company and you're going to override them. I'm not saying I'm guilty of doing that. I'm a person who likes to really delegate, but at the same time, you want to make decisions sometimes which have an outcome which you believe might be against the wishes of your team, and you need to live with that afterwards. So what would I do differently? I don't know if this impacts something I'd do differently, but maybe at times in business, I would have taken a step back and just given myself a breather rather than making quick decisions. Fortunately, none of them were fatal, but take your time and make sure you stay consistent with what got you there in the first place. And I think that would always ground you in the right way.
Nice one. Nice one. Anybody? Yeah?
So as he said, I would also agree to the fact that stay grounded always. The more higher you go, the less air to breathe. So remember, success can come and go, but the relation and the people around you is going to stay with you. So be one among them. You be one among them, and yeah.
You want to go with this one, Runa?
Yeah, actually, from my side also, what I believe is we need to be genuine. We need to be genuine with our team. We need to be genuine with our customers. Gets where we call. We need to be genuine. We need to be true to everyone. This is how things will grow. Sometimes faking it will not take a long run. So it is very short. So yes, be the ground, just be good to everyone, build the network, know people, especially the competition is very high. So what is important, especially in I think every industry has the same challenge. When it comes to my industry, the competition is extremely high. So the only thing we could do is we need to be genuine to people. We need to be good to people. This will take a long way. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, the question was 15 years ago, what would you tell yourself, right?
Yeah.
I think I would just tell myself not to be very uptight and be more relaxed. Because when I first came to Qatar, and it was my first experience to have a startup, doing the startup as a business, because I was always being an employee rather than an employer. For the first 2 years, I was trying to understand the market. I was trying to tap into the connections and all. If I had the chance to go back 15 years, I would tell myself, don't be afraid to invest in your team, because this is not my word, but where I come from, there's a very famous businessman passed away. One journalist asked him a very interesting question. The journalist asked, all your employees are getting well paid. Is this the success story, like how you built up a huge empire by just because the common practice usually is that you don't really pay much to your employees? And he said, I'm not poor to have low quality people around me. So if I had the chance to go back 15 years, I would start hiring qualified people who deserves good finances and all. That would really help growing the business.
And if there's any more questions, no more questions? Yeah, come on, let's go. We can do 2 more questions. It's important we get your...
It's okay. Thank you for the fruitful informations, and I'm very proud to be among you today. I'm Dr. Ahmed Bakir. I'm a marketing and business development officer in the pharmaceutical industry. Mr. Sean said you have to use your strategic eye, and my question is how we can balance with between the strategic eye to be agile in response to dynamic market, and how to you can say not taking irrational decisions, fatal one, as you said before.
I think it's about allowing yourself to believe in your instincts. And this is kind of, maybe what I needed to go back to. We kept on flogging a dead horse. We kept on with the fitness services post-COVID. So many gyms had opened up. The market dynamics were not such that our business was going to survive if we had continued in that way. And maybe I wasn't listening to my instincts. You get used to doing certain things in a certain way for so long. And when that brings you success, you get very married to that. And you'll have in the back, it will come back. It will come back. But that's the point. Listen to your gut. Do you know there's something in physiology? Have you heard of the saying gut feeling? That's not some saying that was made up by someone who had a feeling in their gut when they had a thought once which came right. There's a physiological process which happens. And these are neural pathways in your brain which your stomach speaks to. So your stomach has a brain in it as well. So when you say gut feeling, don't think that's just some airy fairy stuff where, oh yeah, I've got a gut feeling. No, that's your instinct kicking in. And the best decisions you will make are the ones that you will make with your instinct. The problem is we don't have confidence enough. I've been doing it for 10 years, as I said, over 10 years. And sometimes I don't have the confidence to go in my instinct. I need to do more research, or, I need this factor, or this is a new decision. No one else is doing it like that. So I think it's really, really having that proximity, understanding where you are, looking at everything and listening to your instincts. This is really key, because strategy will only get you so far. What we've been talking about a lot of today, there is not one strategy, and I've reviewed many and I've put together many. There's no strategy that will drive my business if my team are happy and they want to turn up and work and contribute. That is the biggest strategic outcome that I could ever have to drive my business. No strategic goal will ever help me if I can achieve that. That's not a science. As we've been discussing, I have to work with them. I have to be ready to serve them. I have to serve them. I have to know exactly what I'm asking them to do. And I have to be prepared to do it as well. And I think, part of working with people as well is, tapping into your, how do I put it, your innate senses. And it's not, there's no scientific answer to your question is what I'm trying to say. I hope I'm giving you an answer which is valuable, but I think listening to your instincts, doing the right planning, of course, and research. But once you've got all of that there, you've got all this data on the table, how are you going to make a decision? There's plenty of ways to skin a cat, they say, right? You can take a lot of different paths to get to the same outcome. Then it comes down to how you're going to do it your way. And that's what success stories are made of quite often.
Hi, my name is Asif. I've recently started in cybersecurity. So I just want to ask the panel, how would you provide a marketing strategy for a new business? Would that be online, especially for the Qatar market? It's the most difficult thing to find out. Is that cold calling, or how does it work here?
Yeah. As she was asking, the connections are very important. It's a small market, where especially when you are into a tech IT domain. It all goes with the connections. It all goes with your reputation in the market. Especially when it comes to security related, you should showcase your certain, experience, what you have done, or a certain clientele, what you have. It is always very much required. But then again, I would say that, of course, digital marketing is going to definitely help you to get the lead. You have to filter the lead and see how healthy they are, and you have to start working on that. Digital marketing is definitely going to help you, because we are into ERP and we are able to raise the lead through digital marketing. So I believe we both comes into almost similar category. So I strongly suggest the first thing, definitely the contacts and relations that you can have. And digital marketing is something that is going to help you out based on. I don't believe anymore in cold call and knocking the door and sending out people to, do you really need it? It doesn't really help me. It didn't help me in my career, but I don't know how it will go with you. But I would say that relation and digital marketing should help you guys very much.
Can I ask you a question in response? What do you feel like your differentiator is? I don't really understand cybersecurity or the competitors set that you've got in the market here, and who your potential clients are, who are procuring these things, outsourcing and needing. I understand you'll be like an outsourced service supplier where you'll go in and do that for companies, consult them or deliver. But do you understand the market enough to see where your differentiators are at the business? What stage are you at now?
Yeah, what the research I've done earlier, I probably found the SMEs between 10 to 50 employees, they tend to be missing the basic hygiene, the basic training of and most of the people get impacted one or the other. And when they get impacted, the customer data gets leaked or something bad happens. The issue is not the market research. The issue is I had a lot of conversations, a lot of meetings, but nothing is fruitful coming out. So maybe I'm looking at the wrong direction. I did set up a few meetings. So I was just trying to find out what other marketing strategies are there. I know things takes time here, obviously, and connections makes a big difference. But I just wanted to ask the panel what their experience was in terms of maybe selling something. Doesn't matter cybersecurity, but just selling something here.
I think consistency in your follow-up, like you said, you realize the lead times are very, very long here. Procurement processes are quite protracted. So, you need to consider that and just have that consistency in following up in the nicest possible way where, that doesn't become annoying and, manage your clients accordingly. But I think, as our colleague here said, if you've got some strong differentiators, to try to put something out there. I don't know what you're planning, if you plan to market in terms of, online marketing or something like that. I think we can't get away from that these days, right? You've got to have a bit of a presence. I don't know for your sector, I just don't know it at all. But, it's just trying to capture that differentiator. If you say basic hygiene, we'll start meet the client where it's at. Then that should be, a good kind of sales angle for you. That we'll kind of come in and do the basics and show a bit of trust in us here. Look, it's what we were talking about earlier. It's about trust, right? Knowledge. When you share knowledge, you start developing elements of friendship with people, and when you develop elements of friendship with people, you can develop trust with people. So like sharing, knowledge, trust, business. Why don't you go in and just start asking your clients, look, I've got some spare capacity this month. Why don't I come in and just give you, do the basics, give them a bit of value. And, as you mature, like our company, we don't really do that anymore. We don't have to. We're in a good position that we don't have to do that. But if I really want a new client, or I really believe in an objective that they're working on, and there's a real desire to do something, I will go in and support them and do something without getting paid. So maybe that's something you need to consider for those big key clients that you want to capture.
I think also White Hat Desert.
Steve, I just wanted to add one
sorry.
to the gentleman. If you're trying to provide the cybersecurity to a domain which is SME, you also need to know that if SMEs are seeing it as a necessity or as an expense head. As I understand, in this part of the world, people see this as an expense. As long as they see it as a cost, I think it is difficult. So you have to find a way, find a mechanism to portray yourself in such a way how you are adding value to it, how you can make it everyone look at ROI here for anything, even a small thing. The people look at, okay, fine, if I invest here, how am I going to benefit in my business? So if you are going to talk to them about for a I don't know, even our company, our Cherry Infotech, when they go out to the market and when they see that people are using webmail, and they ask them, hey, come on, your mail can be hacked and you can lose your mail. Many of them people see it as say, oh, come on, spending a $70 on email, it's very expensive. So I would say, based on my experience from my team, I would say you should need to portray yourself such a way that you add value. There is a value addition to your pitch whenever you do with any customer.
If I may add one more thing.
Yeah, please.
Both what Sean and Paul just said, it's very important, and to show to the client that you add a value to their enterprise. I think the best way of marketing for your product is to build a case study. I don't know, choose one client that you give your services maybe for free or very low charge, and show that as a successful example, and then you can build up from there. I think that's could be a good strategy for you.
I thought cybersecurity was oversaturated. I thought it was a big kind of one of those areas that nobody really wants it anymore. But it's not that way at all. It's actually it's a booming subject. The only thing that you've got to do is unfortunately, and you've got to go in kind of. It's a gamification. Everybody's trying to impact the other person with this side. So you've got to go and sword fence with these people. You've got to go and show your skills. You've got to shake hands with these people, and you've got to touche with them and show them how good you are. That's the thing. And I agree. Sometimes I don't agree. Door to door is when I say door to door is a handshake. Get it working. Okay, because that's the only way you're going to find the like-minded people that have problems within the industry that you can solve. That's the one thing that I would say with yours. Anyway, fantastic panel this evening. Please give them a round of applause. Look, this is unbelievable. Today was unbelievable. It was so wonderful that we all came back to how important your team is. Sometimes it's not those things like AI. I'm sorry, Ina. It's not down to AI. It's not down to those specific things. It's the simple things. Looking after our team. They're going to be the ones that's going to represent you going forward. So I'm going to give you the head of our team now, which is Ahmed Al-Fangari. He is the VP for Qatar with DHL. So please, Ahmed.
Thank you, Steve. I'm not the head of the team. Actually, Steve and Julie are the head of the team. No, I just wanted to thank you guys. I really enjoyed the panel, and thanks for Shuruq and Workington for this amazing panel, which is, I'm sure everyone who's here have listened and learned something from you guys, and this is being recorded, so others will be as well learn a lot out of it. The most important thing that we, as everyone in the room, sharing the same spirit, the willingness to grow, and it's all about the team. And I agree and second this. We, as in DHL, we always see people equal growth with quality. So it's all about the team. So whatever you can find the needs. When we started this initiative, actually, we were sitting with Steve and Yulia discussing what we are gonna do, and this is what Steve said: I'll do this program for free. So, and this is what he started with DHL, and happily, we are now seeing it as the biggest initiative and private sector for supporting SMEs. We definitely would love to support you with whatever we can offer as DHL from either the great panelists here and as well whoever there from SMEs and will listen to this event. So again, thank you, Steve, for moderating. Thank you for being with us tonight and for the guests being here and SMEs. And have a great evening. Thank you.
It wouldn't be right that I didn't finish off by thanking our team. I want to thank Workington. I know that Ahmed done it, but I really do want to thank Workington, because without them, we just done all the stats today, and they're probably the biggest one that's bringing all these SMEs into our family. So congratulations, Workington. Congratulations, Yulia, and congratulations, Diana. Without you guys, again, it wouldn't be here today, and it wouldn't be here because of you guys. So thank you for turning up tonight. So thanks, everybody. Thank you.